Go around the badger.
Hey everybody, it is the Angry Honey Badger here, and it is in fact time to take a look at a build-in guide for Rengar, a champion I don't actually play all the time. I just personally don't think he's the funnest for my playstyle, but I can see the fun and the aspects and the merit behind why a lot of people like to play him. He's very good at multiple things, and I honestly don't play him probably like a lot of other people, although the build's pretty standard. But besides that, we're going to talk about him today. We'll get into that a little bit more in depth in just a second. But first, let's take a look at runes and masteries. We'll pull those up on the screen for you so you can take a look at those. Pause the video if you need to right now to jot them down or do them over in League right now. And let's get rid of him. All right, sounds good. Now, we're going to go over his abilities in just a second, but what I was trying to say about how I play him is I like to think of him as a team facilitator when it comes to getting into ganks and when trying to help kill people and those types of things. I think a lot of people like to just roam solo and solo kill people. He does that incredibly well. That's just not how I play him, but, you know, if I played him more, maybe I'd transition into that a bit more. We're going to badly gank top lane. Echo will live, and then because he lives, he will later carry the crap out of the game, to be honest. We're going to chase up Darius. We don't have the world's greatest damage, and he's going to get some life back here with a Q, so chasing him would be too far. Yi also shows up. I'm going to slow Yi, and I can use a quick EE to heal in a second, or sorry, WW to heal in a second, and I'm going to, and he kind of gets baited into that under the turret. I wasn't too worried about that. I knew I was going to get a big heal off because, let's face it, Rengar's W is quite good at doing that. So let's go over your abilities to see how some of that was done. At level 1, we typically put a point into our Q, which is our savagery. We will typically max this out first. Obviously, within your next 2 seconds, you're going to deal bonus attack damage, or bonus damage on your next attack. And then if you use this as your ferocity bonus, which is your passive's your ferocity, and you get your ferocity stacks and you get all your other bonuses. Read into that if you want to know more about ferocity and your unseen predator passive. But if you use your ferocity bonus when you have your max stacks, you will deal bonus physical damage, and it'll be increased after those hits when you hit the target. It's on a percentage amount, and it's up for 5 seconds. The attack speed and damage enhancement is based on your champion level. So that's how that works. At rank 2, we put a point into Battle Roar. That is our W. We do this because then we can start to get that healing in the jungle, which is pretty helpful, or just in general, you can get that. I know a lot of people like to do AP, or back in the day, did an AP Rengar, and you got huge heals and huge damage off of Battle Roar. Not so much a thing anymore. Assassin, AD, and Rengar's more of the style these days, but you'll do a roar around you. Obviously, you'll deal damage, and then if you have your ferocity bonus, you're going to deal more damage, and it's magic damage, which is why that AP build exists. And you're going to gain percentage base of missing health and percentage health times level. It's a complicated amount, but the lower you are, the more you get. That's kind of fun. You have your Bola Strike on your E. We max this out second typically, depending on what I did this game. I think I did that. Hopefully I did that, or else I'll look kind of stupid, but you should, because you get the increased duration, or you get the increased damage, and you get the increased slow amount, which is really good for chasing. We're going to go ahead and just flash the wall, jump over, do a bit of damage to the Sivir, murder her off, and actually Karma, our support Karma's quite strong, as you know. Support Karma's about to pick up a double kill, go legendary real fast in this game too. My team did work this game. The last few times I've played Rengar, I've done quite good, actually much better than this game, honestly, but then my team feeds out of control and we lose. I hate that, but it's whatever. Kind of happens. But the Ferocity bonus on the Bola Strike is going to deal more damage, and then it's going to root the target for 1.75 seconds. Very important to gank with that. You can slow into Bola or Bola stun or root into just the slow then if it's back up. So it's very, very good for ganking. So make sure when you go out for ganks that you have some type of Bola Strike available, whether it's the one that's going to root or just slow or both. It really makes ganking really good. If you can land both of them, I don't want to say it's going to guarantee you a kill every time, but that's a lot of crowd control for somebody to work their way out of. And then you following up with any of the damage you have, let alone anybody in lane who decides to help with that kill, it's going to do significant damage. So very important. If that's one thing you want to practice with him, it's that. And then obviously if you wanted to start practicing how to, use your jumping aspect out of bushes and brush with timing your Bola so it's right, pretty much on top of you, although they've been nerfing and buffing that back and forth. So the good Rengar players can basically have it, I don't want to say invisible, but it's very difficult, hit. So You can practice that over and over. It does take time. I will say a lot of practice with Rengar will definitely make him a much stronger champion. You can do some significant damage if you just pick him up and play him every once in a while, but that's one of the reasons why I'm not the world's greatest Rengar. I'll 100% say it. I'm definitely not. You play him a lot, and it's one of those rewarding champions where if you play him a lot, you'll get all the little details down, and you'll have all your timings just right. Because I'll be throwing some bolas this game that are a little off, but that's mostly because the travel time on it, because I don't play them a lot. It's just how it happens. And then Thrill of the Hunt is obviously your ultimate. It's going to take up to 3 seconds on a 3-second delay to fully go invisible, and it will reveal champions within a radius around you. While you're stealth, you do get 15% movement speed while running towards champions. Enemies are alerted, though, when you do get within a certain range of them. This lasts 7 seconds until you use an ability. So after you break the stealth, though, you will gain more movement speed and 1 ferocity stack for 5 seconds. So it'll help you get closer to having your root or your heal or, savagery bonus with your ferocity on your Q, depending on what you want to use for that fight. One thing I will say, similar to Vi, whenever you're playing Vi in the jungle, you usually try to go gank the minute your ult is up because I don't want to say it guarantees you a kill again, but once again, it makes it a lot easier to get yourself in a position to get a kill for you or your laner. Same thing with Rengar. The minute your ultimate is up, try to find a good lane to gank. Try to find somebody you can come in around the side, around the back side, and then jump on them and then just lock them down in place with the bola. Because it's a really, really easy way, once again, if you can close that gap easily and get the bola on them, then it's a really easy way to help pick up kills for your team in general. So that's something to take a look at. Let's go over the build, though, now a little bit, since we talked about his abilities and some things you might want to try. We did Stalkers Warrior. That's pretty standard on Rengar. I've never really seen anybody do too many other things. That's just pretty much the go for most people. Then the next things we try to do, I like Merc Treads. I know you can probably do other ones if you really wanted to, but Mercs, for me, pretty nice, especially against this AP Nasus, who is kind of honestly a handful. He's been kind of wrecking our team. As much as our team's doing good everywhere else, our Zed had a little rough go, lost lane pretty quick, and Nasus is definitely farming up fairly well, and he tickles, to say the least. Because of that, we're going to tweak our build a little bit, but it's usually an item actually a lot of people get. Here I'm actually using myself as bait. Echo is Tank Echo, which is awesome. Tank Echo does a crazy amount of damage still, and I'm just the bait there to live, and that's why I used my my Battle Roar to heal, because I knew I was going to get slightly low, but I was the bait. I knew I was the bait in that fight, which is fine. The next item that we are building, though, after we have our Stalker's Blade, we finished our boots sometime in the middle. We wanted the Magic Resist, though, and the Tenacity, because Wither's also super annoying, and having Merc Tread is super good with that Tenacity bonus to help break the crowd control effects of those other enemy champions. So if you see an enemy team with a lot of, stuns, slows, taunts, anything that's crappy, all that stuff, then you might want to get Mercs. So we got ours. We're going to also then start to pick up the pieces of a Hex Drinker. We're going to get that because that's definitely going to help us against that stupid Spirit Fire, which does crazy amount of damage, as you just saw. And that'll help us a little bit. And also, just in general, building that into a Maw of Malmortius is something that a lot of Rengar players will do, because when they start to dive the back line later on in the game, luckily this won't get super late because our team's going to finish this out pretty quick. But later it gets on, you're going to really want that shield if you get bursted down when you try to assassinate a target. So Maw is a very good item to get. The next one we are building towards, though, that we would have gone for if we didn't need to rush our Maw, was the Youmuu's Ghostblade. Just kind of the standard item on him. Gives him a little bit of everything he needs with attack damage, cooldown reduction, armor penetration, and the active, which is really important for somebody who wants to get around, get in the backline with your ultimate up. Those are all the things you're really going to want on Rengar. So from those 3-ish items, there is a little workability with yourself. You can go more tank, which I think is more setup situational Rengar, which I like more, but I won't talk about that too much. I'll just go over those items quick. Basically, you just build tanky items. You go like Omen, maybe Lock of the Iron Solari, and like Steric Gauge. That would be a way to round yourself out for the most part. But, granted, we're not going to actually finish the game here, to be honest. We're going to... Low death timer still. We're at 21 minutes. We tried to make a good push, because we're trying to be a coordinated team, although I don't know who these people are. But, we were on the same page when it comes to fighting. Solid ult by me for no apparent reason, because I thought we were going to actually end up the game. But they're respawning right now, and they're going to start TPing in behind us, and this is going to fall apart for us a little bit. I do get away, though. But besides that, Youmuu's is definitely the next item you go after your jungle item, and around the same time you go for your boots. I don't know where that bolo is going, or that one. Okay, those were pretty. Well, Echo jumped on their face, but whatever. Anyways, so Youmuu's was that next item. Besides that, then after that, this is one of those situations where a new item in the game is very, very impactful on Rengar, and that would be the Duskblade of Draktharr, I believe is how I just call it Duskblade. So Duskblade is a great one because it's going to give him even more damage, so soloing out people is really good. Gives him bonus movement speed, which is always something Rengar wants, and then it also has the armor penetration and the Nightfall passive, which is really going to help you pop targets when you dive a backline. It makes him kind of the ultimate out-of-nowhere assassin, to a certain degree. I mean, you get that little warning, but if you're really good with positioning around the backside of an enemy team, you can really jump in and surprise the crap out of ADCs, squishy mages, anybody you really need to get killed and get murdered off. So then we're going to jump in and you could say KS, but that was probably actually 400 or 500 damage in that quick bursty time, honestly. And then after that, you could do the Trinity Force or a Ravenous Hydra. Both of those are very good and damage focused to really help you pop people on the backline. But Rengar's a lot of fun. I think the main thing to take away is practice with him will make him a much stronger champion in your arsenal, so make sure you do that. And besides that, I wish you all the very best of luck with him on the Fields of Justice.